What's up everybody, Dillon with an I here, and with the release of the next batch of Refrigerator and Kaiba, I wanted to talk about some of the consoles that paved the way for these weird machines we have today. But before we get into that, first, make sure to like and subscribe, leave me a comment saying what your favorite console was, or what you think is going to be on this list. Being born in the early 90s, I've been through my fair share of consoles. Saw the birth of the internet, the death of Sega, the rebirth of Sega, the death of Sega again. I'm saying I've seen some guys. And that's why I put together this list of the top 5 most influential consoles of all time. And I've set some rules for myself here to keep it from being a list of only the absolute giant monolithic presence that is the CDI. Spaghetti. My rules will be that only one console from a company can be used. I cannot use my nostalgia glasses, and the list is based on the console itself and the impact that it's had in the industry. Games will also play a role, however, the console will be the main center of attention. So with that said, here are the most influential consoles of all time, according to... Man, I'm looking scruffy. I better clean up. That's better. A long time ago, you never would have thought VR would ever catch on. But, well, here we are, and for that we have to thank the Virtual Boy. Ah! Oh shoot, sorry, wrong decade. Number 5 is the Oculus Quest. Whoa guys, calm down. Hear me out. It started in 2012 as a GoFundMe project that made almost $2.5 million. After the consumer version 1 was made in 2015, it shipped out in 2016, and, well, there wasn't much to do. With only a handful of titles, people kind of just waited for there to be more, but they got the ball rolling by making this wonderful machine. Because now the competition kicked in. We had Steam making one, PlayStation trying to make one, but it wasn't until Facebook bought Oculus in 2019 that the traction really hit the VR market, as now Oculus had the revenue to make more games and perfect the technology. The Oculus has paved the way for VR technology and even made it mainstream in households. They also made it super affordable. Why buy the HTC Vive for $1,000 when you could get the same thing with no cords for $299? It's a no-brainer. This little device has changed the way games are going to be. VR is definitely the future. And even though it's not completely fleshed out, the Oculus got the future of VR gaming on the fast track. It's only going to get better from here, and we have the Oculus to thank for getting the trend of working virtual reality. It has its slot at number 5 due to the fact that it's still in its infancy and has a long way to go before it can contend with the other 4 big boys on this list. Now, this was the hardest thing for me to put on this list. For anyone who knows me, I'm not a fan of Xbox. However, the Xbox 360 earns its spot on the list, even though I never got refunded for my Red Ring 360. The 360 was conceived in early 2003 with wonderful names like Xbox 2 or Nextbox. Why not just call it the Xbox 64, guys? At first you could say the 360 launch was a catastrophic failure, with consoles dying left and right, people demanding refunds, including me. This fixes it, right? But somehow they crawled out from that and flourished. The 360 ended up selling around over 80 million consoles over its lifetime. It made console media the norm, and multiplayer via Xbox Live was actually easily accessible, as well as making achievements. More. All in all, it created the standard for today that is downloadable content, mass multiplayer games such as Halo, Battlefield, Gears of War. What's that? Oh my god, other shooting games? I guess the 360 also pioneered not printing out the same Call of Duty games over and over again. Despite its shortcomings, it created the norm for a solely online console and started the shift towards digital-only media, for better or for worse. Here we are, baby, the big 3, the top contenders. Without these, gaming might not be what it is today. And for number 3, we have the Gamecast.
Nah, I got Gamecast. Gamecast? Well, there's GameCube and then there's Dreamcast. What you got?
Well, I said I got Gamecast, man. Damn, I can't afford it.
Wait, what? Oh shoot, sorry, I meant Dreamcast. So listen to this. The year is 1999. 3 years after the release of the last batch of consoles, and 2 years before the next one arrives to market. It's the turn of the century, and what is this weird white console? Everything else has been black or gray up to this point, but this one is white. It plays CDs, has the most alien controller known to man, like the weird uncle of the 64 controller. You've got some doubts about it, but heck, it's the newest console, so you give it a try. And you're glad you did. Crazy Taxi, Code Veronica, Grandia 2, Sonic Adventure 2, Skies of Arcadia, Shenmue, Mother Jet Set Radio. Wow, these are some good games. But hey, what is that? Oh my god! The Dreamcast, baby, innovated just about everything we see today. Sega went absolutely wild with this console. For one, they went for the bold white color. The first console with a built-in modem, so you don't have to buy it separate. You can play online. This was many people's introduction to online gameplay. Even the consoles made right after the Dreamcast couldn't say that. Sure, you could get a modem for PS2, but how many of you actually even knew about that thing? You have an actual boot-up menu you can look around. The VMU wasn't just a memory card, it was a friend. The Dreamcast led the charge in what the future was shaping up to look like. Unfortunately, it did it way too soon, and it suffered, which is why it ended up being a commercial failure and the reason Sega went under. Even so, it's still one of the best, and Dreamcast, we thank you for your service. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play Seaman. They call him the grandfather of the gaming industry. In the year 1983, video games were dying out. The industry had almost faded into nothing. And then...
3, 2, 1, go!
The Nintendo Entertainment System, also known as the Family Computer, or Famicom for short, entered the scene and let you know you need to wake up, because video games? They're good now, and they aren't going anywhere. Without the NES, the gaming industry would have just faded into obscurity. It was because of the introduction of this machine, along with the massive library of over 700 games that were made for it over its lifetime, that the industry was saved. The success of the NES created the competition that stabilized the market and had everyone else making games too. Sega wanted some of that action, and Atari even tried to step back up to the plate to get its crown back. I mean, I don't think you understand that we went from this to this. Gone were the days of confusing controllers and hard-to-see graphics. Now you had like 8 buttons. That's it. And they all had an express purpose for almost every game. Other consoles may have pioneered internet or motion controls, but the NES pioneered regular controls. Titles made on this console still exist and thrive today, even after over 30 years. People still play these games. They make memes out of them. Have you heard of the Konami code? Yeah, NES, baby. If you had the NES at your house, you bet every one of your friends was asking to sleep over just to play whatever games you had lying around. Sorry about that, but I debated for a while over which Nintendo console deserved this spot, and ultimately, the NES was the most influential console of them all, literally saving the gaming industry. But if this is number 2, then what's number 1? Number 1's coming up, but I think we all know who the real console winner is. You see, PC... You wake up on a typical day in late 2000, early 2001. You pull out your CD player and you play your Linkin Park Hybrid Theory CD while getting ready for school. After a long day, you finally get home. Either for your birthday or just because they could, your parents hand you a gift. What is it? What could it be? You open the box to see it. Oh my god. It's the PlayStation 2. I've heard so much about this. So you plug it up and see what it's got. Today is a really good day. The PlayStation 2 is a sleek, way different looking console than any of the others. It's black, it can stand up or lay down. Its controller is the same as its predecessor with standard rumble and analog. It plays DVDs too? Wow, and the library, just look at these games. The PS2 was the definitive landmark in gaming, and let me tell you why. It was good. Really good. Out of every console up to this point, you always had some sort of baseline to what games you would get that were good for it. PS1 was mostly RPGs. For Nintendo, it was platformers and adventuring games. But PS2 was everything. You had shooters, simulators, sports games that were good, platformers, RPGs, the list goes on and on. It had everything. The PS2 sold pretty well too, selling about 155 million units? Bro, that's like 2% of the population. Oh, the NES may have revitalized the gaming market, but the PS2 made it popular. You can't tell me you didn't have at least one friend who had this console, or that you yourself didn't have it. This thing was everywhere. Most gamers today started gaming on the PS2. If you didn't buy one retail, you for sure found one at a yard sale one day. I mean, I still have my first PS2. Every developer and their mother was making games for this thing, and it ruled the market for 6 months alone with no competition. Kicked Dreamcast to the curb and knifed Sega. And caused Nintendo to be like, oh, well, hey guys, we were kidding about Nintendo-only games. Would any third-party developers want to create for us too? And guess what? It was backwards compatible! A taboo in today's console market. You could play the old games on this bad boy for free. I have a PS1, I don't even use it. Let's take a look at this little list I've got here real quick. So we got reliable console, check. Large variety of fun and interesting games, check. Readily available for most households, check. Change the entirety of the gaming market to amp up production and try to produce more top quality games and systems over the competitor? Check, check. Widely regarded as the greatest console of all time, it was also the big influencer. And in the opinion of this guy, it's more than earned its spot at the top. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video all the way through. This was actually a lot of fun for me to write. It required some real thought and research to make proper placements. So what consoles do you think should have been on this list? What do you think shouldn't be on the list? Leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts, and as always, if you liked the video, leave a like. Want to see more? Hit that subscribe button. I'll just be here playing Disaster Report on my PS2. Until next time, guys. Bye!